Now, here we have it then. I'm putting this together now into what I call a process model of assessment and tracking. So what we've done with this is we've combined assessment for learning and assessment as learning. You will also see that I've introduced tracking into the model and also apportion responsibilities for different parts of the process. And note that the processes of monitoring, evaluation and tracking sit at the heart of this model and are learner-led. I would like to start by looking at this. Teachers need a simple method to know that every learner is engaging and getting on with the agreed learning activity. Requiring learners to monitor and evaluate their learning in real time is simply the best way to do this. After all, teachers don't have the time to do this on a one-to-one basis with every learner in a large group. I guess you might be thinking, how can I get my learners to do this and record it in some sort of tracking document? Are they even capable? And they will be great questions, and I'm glad that you've asked them. Research tells us that even quite young children are capable of monitoring and evaluating their own learning process. However, let me go back and say that last bit again. We are asking them to monitor and evaluate their learning process, not the quality of their subject expertise. That's the teacher's, the subject expert's job. And that's what makes the difference between assessment for learning and assessment of learning. Now, learners are not daft. They're not going to do this without a bit of a fight, which is why this needs to be a requirement. It needs to be non-negotiable, set out in the learner's contract and reinforced by everyone. And just in case you might be thinking that I'm being a little harsh on them, psychologists tell us that this process amounts to metacognition, in which learners don't just learn something, they also critically reflect on what and how they are learning it. Does that sound familiar? Critical reflection? And this is known to improve learning outcomes. And there's more. There is no place to hide either an unwillingness or an inability to engage. The process of recording their monitoring and evaluation in a tracking document simply makes that impossible. Further, real-time tracked monitoring and evaluation of learning gives the teacher a reliable and diagnostic insight, yes, a diagnostic insight into the knowledge and skills that are being acquired. And this can be easily rag rated at the review stage for accurate and highly current management information system purposes, whole organisational performance, if you like. The teacher's ability to access a reliable record of process enables reviewing to take place very quickly in minutes or even seconds, and it is more focused. And it's interesting to note that a lot of what passes for reviews in education is more often an unreliable attempt to monitor and evaluate retrospectively through the fog of time. So you will be getting the message that learner-led monitoring and evaluation and tracking is a good thing. But let's make it fun as well. Get them to design their own. Could there be a role for mobile and digital technologies here? Gosh, I almost forgot. Isn't this also about creating a meaningful, living and evolving ILP? But let's call that something else, as it reminds me of the dead and bureaucratic documents that often go by that name.